get started. Welcome to the first call for this group. My name is Rachel Mitchell, and Melanie asked me to do this call this week. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, and then I'm just going to jump into what I have for you guys. And you guys feel free. I'm going to mute you right now, but feel free to ask questions. Use the chat bar, and I can start. This is very informal. I don't know if there's going to be a lot of us, but I am Rachel Mitchell, and I am a diamond coach. I have been a diamond coach for a little over a year, and I've gotten close to rank advancing a couple times, but I haven't. But that's okay for me, because my goal is to just continually be moving my business forward. And it has kind of, in the beginning, I just felt this push to rank advance. And I think that's great. But for me personally, I work full time. Most of the time, I'm a history instructor in the college. And so I have a lot of time off, but I do work, and I'm always doing that. And I have two small children, Henry and Milo. And so for me, a steady pace is what keeps me going, and that's my goal. But I do hit Success Club continually. Next month, I think July will be my 24th month, and I have hit Success Club every month. And honestly, there's no magic to that. It's just honestly being consistent in the 3 vital behaviors. And I have done that. I can honestly count, like, on probably one hand the number of times I have not posted a workout selfie, and I've always run a challenge group. And so, that is just being consistent in those behaviors, as simple as it sounds, that brings us success as coaches, being proof of the products and continually running challenge groups and inviting, and offering sales and things like that if you need to. But those things really work. So I want to encourage you guys in that, first of all. So goals for this group. Clearly, we all want to hit Success Club 5. If you're here in this group, I hope that is your goal. And you should be running a challenge group if you're not running a challenge group. So my newer coaches are inviting to my June 13th challenge group. And Melanie said that she has one starting on the 20th. So you guys can invite to that if you are not running your own. But you have to have something that you're inviting to. You need to have a start date. I've never run a challenge group and just said, just let me know if you want to join. I'll start one in a week or two. You have to have a start date that you're inviting to, because that gives it a sense of urgency. And it gives a cutoff, so that is really important to have a start date. So if you don't have one, let us know. If you want to join my group or Melanie's group, whoever your coach is or your upline coaches, definitely figure out what you're inviting to. So those are two of the most important things that we need to just get out of the way. And let me find Melanie's message to me to make sure that I cover all the basics that she wanted me to cover with you guys. And then I'll move forward with my stuff, with what I have. So invite to the 20th. Hers is okay. Yeah, that's it. So let's talk about, what it seems like from your messages in the group, a lot of people struggle with consistency, and I totally get that. And, honestly, it's usually, from what I've seen from my coaches and other coaches, it's not so much a lack of time or a lack of ability. It's really self-confidence or comparing, or, when you get told no, that you get discouraged and you just kind of stop, and then you decide to start back. And if there's one thing that I can really share with you guys, you want to be told no. Honestly, that may sound crazy, and our culture does not encourage that. But if you're being told no, that means you're putting yourself out there and you're asking people. And I tell my coaches all the time that no's turn into yeses. Okay. So I have hit Success Club 8 this month, and I'll tell you that everybody who bought a challenge pack from me this month are people that told me no in the past. Some of them a long time ago, some of them a few months ago, some were in a free group but didn't want to join a challenge group a month or two ago. No's are good. No's are good things. In my team page, we're doing a Go for No challenge right now. And our goal this week is to get as many people to tell us no as possible. We're inviting to challenge groups, and we want as many people to tell us no as possible. And I'm giving away prizes for no's. So no's are a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's not something that should make you stop and question whether or not you should be a coach, or stop running challenge groups, or stop posting. It's normal. No's are okay. And I'm actually reading that Go for No book that another friend suggested to me, and it's really good. And that's the whole concept. But let's talk contacts first. So does anybody feel like, you can raise your hand or chat, do you feel like you have trouble with finding new contacts? Is that something that anybody struggles with? Let's see, I don't see anything. Well, I'm gonna share my screen with you guys and kind of show you some tips that I have for finding contacts. So I've been doing this for 2 years. Clearly, I have gone through my warm market, right? And so one thing that I do, and I know Melanie has shared this with you guys, is that I add people to my contact list every single day. And so one way, you know how Facebook will just show you still working warm market, but you know it's coming. Yeah, it is coming, and that's okay. I mean, it will come. If you continue to work this business, you will go through your warm market, but that's okay. There are other ways to expand your market. So obviously, one of the first ways, and I'm just going to use Facebook as an example because I think that's what we probably all use the most, is to Facebook suggests friends all the time for you, people that you have, that'll tell you who you have in common. And so every day, I don't see one right now, one of those suggestion lists, but every day, well, there it is right there, over there on the right. So I will just click, Janica Leanne Harris. I'll click her. I'll add her as a friend. Amy Cornelius, I'll add her as a friend. Devin Norman. So that's 3 people. I do that every single day. Every day I've been a coach, I have added 3 people to my contact list through Facebook. And so that is naturally, I started off with like 175 friends on Facebook, and now I'm over 2,000, probably close to 3,000. I can't remember. So that has naturally grown my market. That has grown the number of people who watch me. That has grown the number of people who see my workout posts, and it has grown the number of people that I can go through scroll down through my list over here on the right, where you see the people that are active on Facebook right now. And so whenever I invite people, some days I literally just go through, look to see who's online. I'll click on a name, read a little bit about them. I'll go to their Facebook page, make sure everything's okay, their child's not sick in the hospital or something like that, and I'll send out a message. It's not always a, hey, join my challenge group message. Sometimes it's just, hey, your kids are super cute. Who took your pictures, your family pictures? Or, your kids seem to have fun, playing baseball. I'm a baseball mom too. I just wanted to say hi. I will connect with people every single day that way. Another way to find Facebook or to find contacts, people that you can add to your Facebook feed, is to go join Facebook groups. Okay. So, for me, like I will take my college that I went to Maryville College. I will look for Facebook groups. So here's Maryville College, and there's one for athletics, and I will join the group and I will start commenting and posting on the photos. And so I'll start interacting with people in groups. That's a really good way to find new contacts. You could do one, like nursing moms, Northeast. See what that pulls up. And just find some Facebook groups. Here we go. Pregnant or nursing moms in oh, nope, that's not what we want. That's weird. But anyways, you get the idea. But just find things that interest you, and join groups and start interacting with people that way. And so that is a really good way. But one of the most simple things that I do in order to find people to add to my Facebook, to my friends list, is I will go to a friend. So like Skylar here, she posted, I'll find a post of a friend who got tons of likes and tons of comments on it. So Skylar's a friend who's pregnant. She's having a baby. She's not a coach. I don't do this with people who are coaches already. And so I will go through the people who liked or commented on her photo, and I will just start looking and see how many friends that we have in common. And so out of 300 people, there's going to be a lot of people who are not my friends. So I'll go through and I'll see what type of friends that we have in common, and I will just send friend requests. And so that is a big part of my business. That is a big part of what has helped me grow naturally and to move my business forward, is that I have increased the number of people who are watching me, and who are following me. And so I often get asked by coaches when I do that, well, what do you do next? Do you send those people a message? Do you start stalking them on Facebook? I mean, what do you do? And that's a really good question. So typically my approach is to do nothing at first. Like, they accept my friend request, and I notice that people will start to follow me or like or comment usually just start by liking on my workout post or something that I share. And so I typically tend to target the people who I know are watching me. And so every now and then I'll go to their page. I will like some of their posts or comment on some of their posts. And if it's definitely a slow progress for me, progression. And so I will, like, one week I'll like their post, the next week I'll comment on something, and then maybe the third or fourth week I'll send them a message and say, hey, thanks for supporting me. Thanks for following me on Facebook. I hope my posts inspire you. If you ever need help with fitness, let me know. So it's nothing like creepy, nothing, nothing just out of the norm. You know, I don't do anything that's disingenuous. I always comment and share genuine, you know, compliments, whatever it is, whenever I reach out to people. I definitely want my business to be genuine and something that I can be proud of. So I don't send out a ton of cold invites. Okay. But because I'm so consistent in my workout posts and what I share on Facebook and all those things, people naturally come back to my page to follow me and to find out what I'm up to. And it's just because I'm consistent, not because I have like super interesting content, but I'm constantly adding value to people's lives. And so people will come back to my page to find out and see what I am up to. So that was the next thing. That's just how I find friends. So that's a big problem. I have a lot of coaches say, well, I'm going to run out of people, or I've invited everybody that I know, or there's too many coaches. But, you know, there's really not. If I can hit Success Club 5, actually I've hit Success Club 10 most months for the past 2 years. You know, there are enough people out there. You just have to be consistent and continually invite and continually ask for referrals and things like that. So that is one of the biggest things that I do, is expanding my market through finding new people and inviting them to follow me. I have a like page if you guys want to know about my like page, but honestly, most of my business has been done through my personal page. So that's how I do that. As far as posting, so, you know, Melanie always tells us to post 3 to 5 times a day. She told me that as a new coach, and since the beginning, that is just what I do. But as I got farther and farther into my business, at first, I honestly copied a lot of what other coaches were doing. And I noticed that my business was I was just kind of barely hitting Success Club. I was attracting people, but it wasn't really people that stuck with anything. It wasn't really people that I had a lot in common with necessarily, or they would start and stop. And so I realized after I went through a training of Melanie's that I really wasn't being me. I was kind of just copying what other coaches were posting. And you know, I was very generic in my posts. But when I really got specific and I really started to talk about things that were important to me, so the things that, and Melanie's probably shared this with you guys, to find 3 or 4 things that are important to you. So for me, you know, my faith is a big part of what I do. I mean, I talk about Jesus all the time because I'm a Jesus girl. I'm not afraid to talk about it. It's important to me, and I share it openly, and that's never hurt me. That's never hurt my business or anything like that. I have 2 kids. We go on vacation. We play baseball. We play in the yard. We do all kinds of things like that. We have a movie night every Friday night, you know, so that's something that people expect me to talk about. They expect me to talk about what I'm feeding my kids, you know, or to share recipes that are family friendly. So that's a big part of it. Obviously, the business, I do this part-time. So whenever I talk about the business aspect, I talk about the fact that I fit it into my schedule. I don't work from home. I mean, I am right now because I'm off for the summertime. But, you know, I talk about my schedule. I talk about how I'm a busy mom and how I fit coaching in. I love to cook. I really love to cook. I really love to grill, you know. So as far as food, I talk about a lot of recipes that are fast and pretty easy. I share a lot of recipes from my blog or from other websites, but people kind of know what to expect from me at this point. As far as motivational things, you know, sometimes I'm funny, sometimes I'm serious, sometimes it's spiritual, sometimes it's not. But I'm always going to be there to provide motivation in some way. And those are kind of the 4 areas that I focus on, and that's just what I stick with, you know, and it's consistent, and people can expect to get good recipes from me. They can expect a morning workout post in the morning. They can expect a word of encouragement before I go to bed. And so those things are the things that I'm really consistent in. I have kind of a routine in those areas. And I do mix it up. I do some more interesting things, but honestly, consistency pays off, and just being consistent and figuring out what your message is, because if you don't know what your message is yet, then you probably don't have a good following, because people want to have something to follow when they come to your page. So that's one of the first things I would encourage you to do at the beginning of this group, is to go back to your page, scroll through it for the past week, for the past couple of months, and look at it and say, is this interesting? I mean, like, if it wasn't me, would I come back to my page to look for something? Would I come back to my page? Is there any way that I'm adding value to people's lives? Because Success Club 5 is important. Running challenge groups is important. Recruiting coaches is important. But if you're doing all that and not adding value to people's lives, your business is not going to grow, because that's kind of the number one thing that we do as coaches. As far as inviting, Melanie wanted me to talk to you guys about inviting. And I post a challenge group ad every month. I start advertising for it 2 weeks before it starts. And so I talk about it in some way every single day. It may not be my whole challenge group image. I don't post that every day, but I will talk about it in some way every single day and invite people publicly. But I'm also inviting people behind the scenes. So the way that I do it personally is, like I said, I don't send out a ton of cold invites, because that's just not my style. I have done it when I need to, but I like to start relationships. So, I'll start with people who consistently like my posts. So this is a list of people I posted the other day. It was last week. It was about mommy abs. And I talked about I posted a picture of my stomach. I was doing a plank or something, and talked about how no matter, how many sit-ups I do, I'll always kind of have these mommy abs. I'll have that extra skin. And, that got a lot of likes and a lot of comments. And so I made a list of new people that I had not interacted with, and I just sat down before I hopped on this call, and I sent them this message. Let me read it to you. And I can share a list of this message and some sample invites. And I just said, hey, thanks for the like on my fitness page. I love connecting with other fun, positive ladies. I wanted to welcome you to the page where I share inspiration. I'm very passionate about what I do. So if you have any questions or need help reaching a goal, don't hesitate to ask me. Are you into health and fitness as well? I hope to hear from you. And that was all I sent them. I didn't invite them to a challenge group. I didn't say, hey, do you want to try the 21-day fix? I just started a conversation. And so out of those 10 people that I messaged, probably 3 or 4 will seriously respond to my message. And so those are the people that I will start to communicate with. I will keep a conversation going. And eventually, if they don't bring it up based on one of my posts, then I will invite them to my next challenge group. And that way, I've formed a relationship. I'll ask them questions about themselves and their health or their family or whatever. And so it will naturally lead into what I do and what about my challenge group. So that is really that's my most consistent approach to inviting. And honestly, a lot of people do respond to my challenge group ads. And let's see, on my like page, I typically do most of that on my personal page, but I do post my challenge group ads on my like page. I get more response from my personal page, honestly. But I do those things on my like page. My like page is really a way to reach people that I normally wouldn't reach. Like I sponsor ads over there and things like that and try to get new followers. But I do advertise over there. But I'll do more. It's mostly fitness stuff over there. And so my personal page combines my family, my fitness, my faith, all of it. So I use both, honestly, at this point. 2 years in, I use both. But for the most of my business, I've just used my personal page for those things. And from what I understand, most of you guys are kind of still either at the beginning or you're restarting. So I didn't really want to go into the whole like page unless that's how you operate your business. Some people start with a like page. I did not. But I start a lot of conversations, honestly. I start a whole lot of conversations. And some of those conversations lead into invites and, challenge groups, and some don't. one of the things I've really started doing, even more so now as I have definitely gone through my warm market, is I will run free groups. I don't love free groups. It's not my favorite thing to do. But if my goal and my purpose is to add value, and I really focus on that, on providing something valuable to my free groupers, then I typically get challengers from those free groups. Not always, but like in the month of, what is this? This is June. In the month of May, pretty much most of my new challengers that bought challenge packs were from my last free group. So in April, I ran a Sugar Busters group because it was important to me. Again, it has to be you. I mean, like anybody can run an abs or butt challenge and all that stuff. But if you get a little more specific, a little more focused on something that is important to you and that really reflects who you are, you're going to have more success with your challengers, just plain and simple. I mean, you guys can copy Melanie's or my free group guides and just copy and paste into these free groups. But if you're adding more of you, then you're going to have more success. People are going to connect with you. So I came up with a Sugar Busters free group because after Easter and after my son's birthday, like my body does not respond well to sugar. It's more mental than it is physical, and it makes me depressed. It makes my hormones really bad. It makes my PMS bad. And so I kind of talked about that. I really talked about that a lot leading up, and I created an event for the Sugar Busters group. I shared that on my like page and my personal page, and I just invited people to come. And I got a lot of good response because after spring break, after Easter, all that stuff, people were kind of ready to give up sugar, right? And so every day I just went into the group and I posted some factual information, talked about my own personal experience. Maybe I shared a blog post or something that I had written. And we just had fun little challenges. And so after that, in the month of May, a lot of those people converted into challengers because or 30-day challengers. They bought a challenge pack because they had a good experience. You know, they connected with me in a personal way, and I really invested in them in that free group. So free groups are a really good way to find new challengers, to find people who could be potential challengers, and to connect and form relationships, because that can be really hard. Especially if you feel like there are a lot of Beachbody coaches already wherever you are. And so just being specific and posting and having content and running groups that are specific to you. I think as coaches, we're kind of afraid of that, to get specific. We want to have like general, just, across the board challenges, or post information that's very general and not specific, because we're afraid we'll turn someone off. But the opposite is actually true. The more specific, the more detailed you become, the more content specific, the more people will connect with you, okay? So that is one thing. That's a big tip. And don't compare yourself to other coaches, don't compare. Like, I can't compare myself to Melanie. We actually have a lot in common, but our lifestyles are very different. We live in completely different regions of the country, different faiths, different beliefs, things like that, in where we are. So I can't run my business the way Melanie does. I can take a lot of good examples and, advice from her. She's awesome. And she's always really good at helping me come up with ideas, but I have to run it Rachel's way and not Melanie's way. Okay. So just definitely figure out what your niche is. That's a whole different call, but just jot down some things that make you, just sit down and start jotting down some things that are really important to you and set you apart from other people. And I would start focusing on posting about those types of things. And that's how you'll make more connections with other people and start conversations. So events, I kind of talked about that. Somebody in this group posted today about, they shared an event that they had created. And events are a really great way to put out and invite people to your groups. I was going to look and see who did that before I go farther. Let's see, where was that? Here we go. It was Jade. Jade posted that she created an event. And so the thing about events are that when you create an event and you post it on your Facebook page, or you send it in a personal message, if someone clicks interested or going, that pops up on their newsfeed. So when it pops up on their newsfeed, all their friends see the event. They see that they're going, and then it gets it out there and makes it become more viral. Okay. So events are a great way to advertise and invite people to challenge groups. And it's really simple. If you don't know how to create an event, it's very simple. I can show you guys. Hopefully you do. But here is Jade's event, if you guys can see that. But you simply go over here to events and you create it much the same way that you do a challenge group. And so you upload a photo, you give it a name, you give it a start and close date, and you just start inviting people. And so, like I said, whenever friends say that they're going, it will pop up in their newsfeed and their friends will see it. And it's a great way to get a challenge group information out there. Okay. And so then what I do that with my free groups more than anything, because I want a lot of people in my free groups typically. But if somebody says they're going to an event, I'll send them a private message and I'll, explain what the event is. I'll make sure they're kind of serious, that they have goals in the group, and then I'll add them to the actual group. Okay. Because I said I want a lot of people in free groups, but if there's just a ton of people in there doing nothing, it's not good. So you want to have a group that's interactive. You know that probably from your challenge groups. So events are a great way to advertise and to invite people. Do you guys have any questions about that, about events or free groups? Has anybody done free groups? Has anybody hosted free groups? Was that successful? Okay, good. That's good. And for a long time, they were not successful for me, and that's why I hated them. And it was usually because I was trying to do something that wasn't me, honestly. So when I got more specific and I talked about things that were important to me personally, it began to become more successful. And I really spend a lot of time in free groups making connections and forming strong relationships, because that's really important and pays off. Let's see. So as far as personal development, that's a big thing. If you don't do your personal development, it seems kind of like a bold statement, but you probably are not going to be successful at this. If you do it once in a while, if you do it like once a week, it's going to be hard. And you're doing one right now, but it's not super successful. Don't like posting because they aren't comfortable with it. And that's the thing, that's what I do whenever we were talking about a free group, right, Shelby? Yeah, I can't see you, but I think you are. If people aren't posting in your group, it's usually, for me personally, it's because people would say they wanted to go and I would just add them to the group. Like I would not have any type of starter conversation. In my Sugar Busters group in May, there were maybe about 15 people in there, which is kind of small for a free group. But do you know what I did? Like people said they wanted to go. They commented or they clicked on the event page and said that they were going or interested. And so I would send each of them a message, and I would say, I'm excited you want to be in this free group. It's really important to me to share this information with people. And I would say, what's your goal for the group? What do you struggle with the most? If they would respond and tell me, then I would add them to the group. If they didn't even respond to my message, I just didn't add them to the group. And that way I kind of weeded out the silent people and the people who weren't real serious. And those people are the ones that really bring a group down and really prevent that interaction. So when you've got people who are committed to a goal, even if it's just a free group, the interaction and the participation is going to be so much better. And I'll tell you, that Sugar Busters group was awesome. Like it was so great. And it was because that I only allowed the people in it that were really serious. I didn't even require that they create a free account and make me their coach. I typically do that, but that was not my goal. I wanted to add value, and I wanted to give it to the people who were serious and really wanted to take advantage of it. And it paid off. And I got like 4 or 5 challengers from it the next month. Okay. And so that's a key thing about free groups. And I will never, ever probably run a free group, the way I used to, because they were duds, to be honest. And that's why I've hated them for so long. They take a lot of work. They take a lot of investment, but it really will pay off. So free groups are something that's my goal, to do one at least every month. And to move my business forward that way, because I am at a point where I need to find people who are not in my warm market. And that's a good way to do it. Personal development wise. So some of you guys posted about what you are reading personally. And Melanie just asked me to share, what I'm reading. Obviously the Compound Effect is awesome. And somebody said they hadn't finished it. I don't think I've ever read that book all the way through. I've read most of it. But for me personally, I'm not a business-minded person. That just does not come naturally to me. So some of my biggest suggestions are definitely GoPro. Some of you guys are reading that by Eric Worre. And then I listened to that one. I listened to that one a lot. The Entrepreneurial Roller Coaster by Darren Hardy, who wrote The Compound Effect, is a really awesome book. I listened to that as well. I listen to a lot of my personal development because honestly, with 2 kids, we're always on the go. I don't have people who keep them all the time when I'm at home. I try to get my personal development knocked out in the morning. And I typically do that while I get ready in the bathroom. And when I do that in the morning, it definitely sets my mind. It creates the mindset that I need to have for the day to get my power hour done, to send out my invites when I don't want to, or to whatever it may be. My personal development fuels my fire. The Energy Bus, you've probably seen Melanie talk about that a lot. It's a really good book. It's an easy read. It's like a story. And it's helped me a lot because sometimes I can be a negative Nancy, especially when it comes to members of my team who maybe aren't doing something, or it's kind of helped me as a coach and to be a better leader. And even in my challenge groups, because I can kind of get down about lack of participation or people who say they want to change and they don't do anything, and so the Energy Bus has been a really, really good book for me. Another one is You Were Created for God-Sized Dreams, or I can't remember exactly the name of it. But that's a good one just if you struggle with confidence. Confidence is a big thing for a lot of coaches. And it's something that, even I struggle with it. I mean, Melanie has said that she struggles with it. So, confidence really comes down to, for me personally, are you being who you are? Or are you trying to be who everybody else is? And so, again, it kind of comes back. I can't stress that enough. Just be you and post about what's important to you. And people will connect with you. People will follow you for that. Not just for your workout selfies or not just for, free giveaways and things like that. People will follow you for that. So those are kind of some of my favorite personal development books. Do you guys have any specific questions for me? Because I know that, I can share tons with you guys, but I want to make sure that I'm helping you where you need help. So I'm going to unmute you guys if I can. Manage participants. Unmute people. And just allow you guys to ask questions. If you don't feel comfortable talking, you can type it in the chat bar. But the biggest things for me, I just want to say this again, have been consistency in my posts, consistency in my invites. Obviously, when I'm posting, I'm being proof of the products. Talking about Shakeology. That at first, Melanie was like, talk about Shakeology, you've got to talk about Shakeology. And when I started to do that consistently, I really started to have less objections when it came to price and things like that whenever I was inviting people to challenge groups. When I started doing programs from start to finish, and I don't talk about my program that I'm doing every single day in my workout post, but people know when I start one and they know when I finish one, and I share my results. Good or bad, I share my results, and people see me doing those. And it's just that consistency and me doing what I'm inviting people to do alongside of me that gives me credibility and that helps people to trust me. And honestly, I have really learned to handle objections in my posts. I don't get a lot of objections to price or to Shakeology or people wondering what it is because I talk about it. I talk about it every single day. I don't talk about Shakeology every single day, but I address some type of objection every single day. If it's time, I talk about how I make time for this. If it's money, I talk about how much money I used to spend on Diet Cokes, on eating out, on, stopping and getting a drink or something like that. And talk about how I actually save money now drinking Shakeology because I cut all that stuff out. People know that Shakeology is a meal replacement because I talk about that all the time. And so people really, if they follow me, and then whenever we start to talk about a challenge group or a challenge pack, they know what to expect because I just talk about those things on a daily basis. So you guys shoot. I'm an open book. I don't care. I can share any ideas or tips, or if you're in a conversation with people that you're inviting. Is everybody inviting to a challenge group currently? Y'all know what you're inviting to. Do you have your images for it? Have you created images that you're sharing? Have you created an event or anything like that? Anybody want to share?
I have an event that I'm doing. I'm trying to come up with the name and a little bit of struggle. I did a sugar one last month. So I was wondering if kind of go along the same lines again.
A sugar one last month, you said?
Yeah. Yeah, I did sugar solutions.
Oh, that's good.
So I was trying to think, should I do the same type of and just change the name, or come up with a different name? And then I think my biggest struggle is how to say things in an ad without, I don't know. It's weird. It's just like if I want to talk about what I have to offer them, but I see when I'm looking back at my old ones, it's like the same thing. So I guess I'm trying to reinvent that, and I don't know if I should be doing that or not.
And it is, I mean, honestly, I say the same thing all the time. Honestly, I tell parts of my story. I don't tell my whole story every time, but I tell parts of it. So, for the Sugar Busters group, I talked about my hormones. I talked about how sugar, and honestly, we cut out Diet Cokes too, because aspartame makes me depressed. I talked about that part of it. Now, my first thoughts, it depends on who your market is, but summertime, people are not going to be worried about sugar that much. They're going to be traveling. They're going to be on vacation. They're going to be having cookouts, making ice cream. And so while we need to be consistent in our lifestyle, people are going to be a little more loose with their own fitness in the summertime. So you might not have a great deal of response like I would. And I don't know what your family dynamic and all that stuff is, but for like me personally, a free group, I would probably focus on travel tips or, beach, surviving the beach, or, baseball moms unite or something, and talk about like cooler meals or packing snacks and, planning out your meals for a week at the baseball field or something like that. That's kind of specific to me. So I would think summertime, you could do grilling recipes. You could do like summer salads. You could do something like that. But sugar, I probably wouldn't do the same thing. Also, just because you want to keep it interesting and kind of reach people that maybe you weren't able to reach last month. So those are my suggestions. Does that make sense? And you tell your story. You're telling your story. As coaches, that's all we're doing. It's just telling what part of your story, so in the summertime, I'll talk about the fact that we're at the pool all the time. That we do have baseball games, that we are just constantly on the go, and how I stick with my personal fitness goals through all that.
Okay. That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Shelby said, I'm working on all that today. Wedding Warriors. Oh, that's cool. Wedding Warriors. That's awesome. Wedding season. You're getting married at the end of the year. That's cool. That's a really good name. Maybe you can do like a substitute challenge, she says. Just make healthier versions of those comfort foods, summer foods. That's a good idea. Yeah. I like that. But yeah, you don't have to run free groups. I think they're beneficial. And, there are some people who are not just going to jump into a challenge group because they just aren't ready. And some people need to ease into it. But I think free groups are good, at least once a month. So that's a good idea.
Can we, sorry.
Nope, that's it.
Can we post what we are saying in the group and have you take a look at it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay,
That's
great.
what the group is for. Mm-hmm. Does anybody have trouble with inviting? Do you need any extra stuff with inviting? I know that's hard. Jennifer, you said I posted my results from 21 Day Fix and had a huge response. 2 challenges. Yay, good. Talking to 3 more. Start raising it. Okay. All right. So you already have a challenge group going for this month, Jennifer? Is that right? Okay. So you're at Success Club 4?
Yes. So I have a challenge group from people who bought stuff last month going right now. It just started. And then I have 3 of my college girlfriends want to do kind of our own little group. So I'm like, oh, great. They want to go do it private because one of them wants to have her daughter do it too. So I'm working on that. And then I finally just went through the calendar. I'm like, I got to figure out when my next one's going to be because I have people interested and I need to have somewhere to put them. So working through all that right now.
So when you set a date, when you set a date, people will commit. I mean, if you're in conversations with people and you have a solid start date, that they'll commit. But if you don't have something that you're inviting to with a specific start date, you're kind of just going to be in constant conversation with people, and that's exhausting. I rarely run more than one group a month because I can't handle it. I feel like I can't. I feel like I can't commit to helping my coaches and to helping the people that are in my challenge groups. Because honestly, at this point, my challenge groups can kind of be large because, some of my coaches have people in there, and as well as, I have people that stick with it. They do their Shakeology and they kind of always want to be in a challenge group. So I really like to make sure that I'm giving people what they want. But there are times that I do run more than one challenge group if I need to. But if it's small, that's different. I mean, if you can handle it, go for it. But yeah, you definitely need a start date, and, come up with an image or a theme for it this month. Last month mine was Summer Strong. This month it's Summer Fun. So that wasn't real different, but there's not a whole lot that I can do with it, without excluding some people. One thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about, and if you're not at Success Club yet, you have to be careful with this, but you guys all know that summer sale is going on, and I was just going to share with you what I did with it. Excuse me. Let's see. Yesterday. So this is what I posted. I didn't do like the image of the sales or prices or anything like that, because that's not me. I don't like to do that. I don't like to appear salesy. Okay. And so I just posted this summer sale. I actually saw it. Another coach was doing it, and I just took her image and I talked about it being a good sale. And then I was I had a private Facebook group that I could add them to if they're interested in learning more about it. And so, of course, it didn't get a lot of likes, but it's got like 25 comments. And so every time someone commented, I would respond to their comment, and then I would add them to the group. And so I kind of expected to get just a lot of people who were already my customers. But I actually got a lot of people who were not my customers, and they went and they created a free account, and some of them have ordered some things. So, if you have like some people who are kind of on the fence or have been on the fence about joining a challenge group or signing up with a challenge pack, and you just want to say, hey, I knew you weren't sure, but here's some great sales if you kind of want to get started that way. And I can share a meal plan with you. And then, those are things that I have done for people who say no, but I don't want them to think that, that's it. If you say no to my challenge group, I'm not going to help you, because that's not my goal. I want to help people. And like I said, so many people tell me no, and then they end up coming around and joining up and signing up with a challenge group later. Some of those people have even made really good coaches. So don't exclude anyone, but you got to be careful with the sale if you're not at Success Club, because you want people to sign up with a challenge pack. But this is something that you can do just kind of to add value to those people who won't commit. And honestly, a lot of this stuff is probably gone now because it started yesterday. But I wanted to share this. This was what I was talking about when I was talking about BU. This is very specific. So this was my Mommy Abs post, and this got a lot of, this is on my like page. So it got 50 likes on my like page. I typically get like 3. People follow me there, but it just doesn't get a lot of interaction. I didn't boost this or anything. But this is very specific. This excludes men. This excludes women who are older. This excludes people who don't have children. This is very specific to me. But that's where I got this list of names that I just reached out to today. And so don't be afraid to share the hard stuff. That is what really moves your business forward the most. So that's just that's one of my biggest pieces of advice, is be you and just share. Don't be afraid to share the hard stuff. Let's see. That's kind of all I have. Do you guys have more questions about anything?
I have one more.
Yeah.
Have you done a like a 7-day Shakeology group before?
Like, you mean where they buy the Shakeology?
Just the 7-day, the sample packet?
I have. I have done those, and they've been okay, but honestly, I find that I have more results when I don't require that they do anything, or almost like they trust me more, because people will buy it. And sometimes they do it, sometimes they don't. I've done it where I shared a meal plan and they replace a meal each day with the Shakeology. But people are, to me personally, it's a good way to get people to try it and to increase your volume. But to me personally, I just lead with the challenge pack and tell them there's a money back guarantee. Because if people are going to commit, they're going to commit, but I think those are good. The sampler pack is good for like a giveaway. That's a good thing that I do whenever I'm having kind of a slow month is I will do a giveaway, and just ask people to like, comment, and share. And, usually I tell them to comment and tag 2 people in the post. Let me see if I can find one that was really good for you. And that's a way to get new contacts, to reach new people. But honestly, I don't love the 7-day group, but I know some people do it.
Well, I've got like 3 people who are like, well, I want to try it first. So
right.
I'm trying to figure out maybe that would be a good group for those type of people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Versus, Melanie always says, don't give it away.
Right.
So,
I keep it, honestly, what I do more than anything is that I have extra samples and I sell my samples for like $5. Because you don't need to give it away because there's no value in it if you give it away.
right.
But I don't have a lot of people buy the sampler pack. I just don't. And it may be my approach, but, trying to find this giveaway that I did. It was really good. I got a lot of response from it. Let's see. I'm going to share my screen so you guys can see what I'm looking at. But I love giveaways because that's one way that I get to give back. It's just a way. There it is. I gave away a whole tub of E&E. So E&E is like my crack cocaine. I don't do drugs, but E&E is my drug. So what I said was, I told my story. Okay. So this is my story. I talked about, I get up and I work out every day and it may look like it's easy, but I say it's not, I was always skeptical of supplements, this kind of addressing objections that people might have. I was worried that kind of jolt that formulas might have. But I talked about, and I even said Mama's secret sauce, so it was kind of catchy. And I had people like and share the post. They had to like my page and tag 2 friends, below. And so I got a lot of contacts from that. And what I did, I let that go for like a week and I would share it and talk about it. And then I just drew a winner for it live. See, here's another one. See, this is not me. Just to share pictures of my tummy. But these types of things get a lot of interaction and people can relate when you're real. But a giveaway is a fun, and it's a way to have fun and to reach people that maybe you wouldn't normally be able to reach, who wouldn't normally just say, hey, I want to buy Shakeology, and to start those types of relationships. So giveaways are a good idea.
And these are all on your personal page?
I usually post it on my like page and share it to my personal page, but you can do it however you want to.
Okay. And then you go back to the people that they added and friend them, or?
Yep. The people that they tag, if they're not already friends of mine, I'll send them a friend request. And sometimes I'll send them a message and say, hey, I'm glad you entered if you want to enter the drawing as well, just like, comment, and share. It's a way to start conversations for sure.
Oh, okay. Great.
Yeah. I'm all about starting conversations. I'm all about it. And it pays off. Totally pays off. Because you can't really just expect people just to watch you and watch you and watch you. I do have a lot of people that contact me because, I've shared so consistently for the past 2 years. But you definitely have to start conversations. That's my approach. As opposed to just cold invites all day, every day. That's not my style. Anything else? Let's see. But I would definitely, I don't know if you guys have done this, but, sit down and make that list of things that describes you, that defines you, that makes you different from the next person in this group, and kind of figure out how you can start to post and weave those things into your posts every day, every week, however often you want to. Because obviously we all work out. We all drink Shakeology, right? That doesn't set you apart. But why do you drink Shakeology? I'm a mom. When I teach, I drive an hour from home. So my Shakeology takes 3 minutes. I used to buy a biscuit every single morning for breakfast, and so instead of spending $5 or $6 on a Diet Coke and a biscuit, I spend $3.28 on my Shakeology. I talk about that a lot. And so just, why do you do what you do? And just make it specific to you, and people will begin to relate and to follow you more and add value. That's another big thing. And just be consistent in doing that. And I think you guys will see results, but I hope that helped. I have another call in 10 minutes, so I'm going to let you guys go. But yeah, share whatever you want to in this group. We'll look at it. We'll help you with your wording or your post or your image or whatever you need to. And you guys are going to do great. Okay. All right. Thanks for showing up. I'll see you soon.